Hello and welcome. It's day 8 of the Betfred World Snooker Championship. I'm delighted to welcome John Virgo. John, Mark Williams, what a performance against Stuart Bingham.
He is amazing, isn't he? I mean, and all the assets that he has, cool as a cucumber under pressure, they were all proven today because I thought that final session was outstanding. I thought the snooker was superb. Stuart looked as though he was going to run away with it, but well, they all say about Mark Williams, one of the greatest potters of all time, and he certainly proved that today. Absolutely superb.
45 years of age now, Mark Williams. Can he realistically win a 4th Betfred World Snooker Championship?
Well, I think he can. 2 years ago, we didn't give him a prayer, did we? Didn't think he had any chance, and yet he went on to beat John Higgins in the final. Yeah, and he's come along and he's laid back style. I think it suits the weird situation we're in at the moment. Nothing seems to bother him, and he's just getting on with enjoying and playing snooker. And yeah, that'll stand him in good stead, no matter who he plays in the next round.
Well, it's going to be Ding or Ronnie. He's already said he'd love to play Ronnie O'Sullivan again at the Crucible.
Yeah, well, why wouldn't you? You know, what a great thrill that would be. And no expectations there either. The fact if he played Ronnie, he'd be second favourite. But Ronnie's got a job to do today. And I say today because I think Ronnie, it's important that he gets a good start against Ding. I would consider Ronnie, particularly after his first round performance, a strong favourite. But your only favourite is you stamp your authority early on. And I think he's got to do that with Ding. If he lets Ding into the match, then Ding has every chance. But you're just hoping that Ronnie produces the stuff he did against Tipshy and New.
Because we've seen Ronnie in the past, unfortunately, haven't we, John? I mean, firing in all cylinders and then rocking up the next session, just not looking the same player.
Well, that can happen with Ronnie. And also, and you know my feelings about Ronnie, best player I've ever seen. He's not great playing catch-up. And Ronnie's the best front runner I've ever seen. So, as I say, that session tonight is very, very important. And yeah, Ronnie, Ding playing Mark Williams in semi-final. Yeah, that's a tremendous match to look forward to.
If you were in Ding's corner tonight, John, what would you say to Ding Junhui ahead of a game against Ronnie?
Well, I think it's the old saying, just concentrate on your own game, you know, because when the other man, no matter how good he is, when he's sat in his chair and you're at the table, there's nothing they can do about it. So Ding, the expectancy for Ding, and this is what I think may be his slight problem, he might feel that he's got to play completely out of his skin to beat Ronnie. That isn't necessarily going to be the case, so just concentrate on the game. Don't miss any easy shots. I think that is the main thing. We've seen it a couple of times in matches. The easiest of balls, if you set them up for a top player and said, pot that, they'd pot it 99 times out of 100. So he's got to cut out missing those easy balls and keep the pressure on Ronnie and see how Ronnie can handle that.
I know John Higgins went out last night, but he really did battle and, you know, it was a hell of a match against Kurt Mafflin. What is it about the class of 92, Higgins, Williams and Ronnie O'Sullivan? Because in theory, in their 40s now, they shouldn't be competing, but they're still there, top of snooker.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like they've dragged one another along. You know, Ronnie's won 5, John's won 4, Mark Williams has won 3. It is absolutely an unbelievable era. It's nearly as good as the Manchester United class of 92.
Well, they've won as many trophies.
It is remarkable. And you've got to feel for John Higgins. Okay, he got a milestone. He made his maximum at the Crucible, which would go on his CV. And he threw everything at Kurt Mafflin. But once again, like Mark Williams admitted today, they've just got that easy pot that they miss occasionally. You know, they get the momentum, and then all of a sudden, like John Higgins last night when he went 11-10 in front, he thought, right, he's going to run away with this. Played a good opening red, on the brown, easy brown for him, didn't have to do anything with a cue ball, natural angle to get on the red near the black, missed the brown, you know, absolutely impossible. One of them, as I say, if you said to John Higgins, just pop the brown, he couldn't have missed it ever. But, you know, just a little bit of, I don't know whether it's concentration or whatever, but it's types of shot that you miss like that are just a shock to the system. and can stay with you for the next couple of frames.
And I know what John's like. He'll be thinking about that Brown for days and for weeks, won't he?
Yeah, he will. And I think I've always said about John Higgins, for all his great strengths, potting his great bill, his match play, to me, his greatest strength was he hates losing. And he won't have been happy that he missed that Brown and lost that match. And every credit to Kurt Mafflin, because he played absolutely brilliantly. But John had him, and he just let him off the hook.
And it's just opening up possibly for Kurt Mafflin. I mean, he's playing Anthony McGill or Jamie Clark next. Two players he never probably thought he would play at the Crucible.
Yeah, and for a place in the semi-final, it's unbelievable, isn't it? Don't get me wrong. I mean, they both had good wins. Anthony beating Jack Lazowski, and of course Jamie Clark beating Mark Allen. And a lot of people were saying to me they thought this could be Mark Allen's year. So they're coming in on a high. They've had good wins. It's not as if they beat nobody. And of course, they could look at it and say, well, look, we're not going to play John Higgins in the quarterfinal. So they'll be looking at Kurt Mafflin as a lot easier opposition than John Higgins would have been. But it's just the way it all plays out. And never look too far ahead at this game. That's the one thing I learned many, many years ago. Just take one match at a time. I know it's the old adage, but that's what you should do.
And they are in the top half of the draw with Judd Trump. Judd Trump, obviously a lot better this morning, but still not quite there, is he, for some reason?
No, he looks edgy. He looks edgy to me. It's like he doesn't want to lose, but he doesn't want to get himself going and expanding his game and really playing like the Judd Trump that we know. He seems to be going through the motions at the moment and being a little bit extra careful. Getting bogged down in 48-minute frames is not Judd Trump's style of game. That's playing into Jan Bingtel's territory. So I think now he's got that lead going in the final session. He should be okay. But as I've always said, if you can split or almost split those first two sessions, then that third session is up for grabs. I don't really care who you are. So Judd, you know, needs to just pick up his game and start playing a bit more positive for me and just playing a little bit quicker.
We have two brand new games on Saturday to look forward to. Martin Gould, who was superb against Steve Maguire, and Karen Wilson, who's had to wait the longest ever at the Crucible to start his campaign.
It's well, we've obviously never known anything like that in our lives. And how Kyron's playing, I don't know. Nobody knows. He doesn't know. Martin Gould will take a lot from his win over Steve Maguire. I thought he played really well. I watched him in the qualifier against Graham Dott, where he was a bit twitchy early on, but got over the line. And then to repeat that against Steve Maguire was an exceptional performance. So he'll be feeling confident. And as you say, Kyron Wilson is an unknown. Well, I don't think we've seen Kyron play for quite a while, you know. So what form he's in, I don't know. He's certainly had plenty of practice. I keep seeing him on the BBC in the background on the practice table. So you would think he'd be okay. And under normal circumstances, you'd make Kyron Wilson favourite. But he will be short of match play. It's as simple as that.
So can ring rust be a problem in snooker then, John?
Well, it can, particularly if you don't get off to a good start. But what I've noticed, Mark, in this Betfred Championship this year, the fact there is no audience has been helping people settle down. I think it's no surprise that the qualifiers, we're talking about three qualifiers who one of them's going to be in the semi-final. I think the oohs and ahs and the pressure that the Crucible Theatre gives you with a big crowd, not a criticism of a shot, but just the ooh and the disappointment that comes from the crowd and the thunderous round of applause when somebody does something on the other table. All those things have gone. So it is a bit like when they play in qualifiers, in little places where there's no crowd, and no real atmosphere, but that's what they're used to. And I think the big names have suffered slightly, if I'm being honest.
John, one match starting on Saturday. They've both got plenty of Crucible experience. Barry Hawkins versus the 2010 winner, Neil Robertson.
Yeah, I was impressed with Neil Robertson against Liang Wenbo. Neil, to me, though, sometimes can be his own worst enemy. I like Neil when he's bouncing around the table, great potter, great break builder. Sometimes he goes into a shell and looks for problems that aren't there. If he does that, then I think he would be playing into Barry Hawkins' hands. Barry will come in there confident. As I say, there's no real pressure from the crowd because there isn't one. And Barry is a very, very consistent player, doesn't miss many easy balls, and he'll make it tough for Neil. But I think Neil, if he produces his best form, then I can see him being in the semi-final.
Could Neil win it this year, 10 years on from winning it the first time?
Big chance, big chance. When I looked at the draw initially, I looked at the bottom half and I thought possibly Ronnie O'Sullivan, Neil Robertson semi-final for me. And nothing has happened since that doesn't make me still believe that that would be the case.
John, as a final question, we're both northern lads. We both love our Friday nights, don't we? Let's be honest. Does it get any better than Ding Junhui versus Ronnie O'Sullivan at the Crucible tonight?
No, it doesn't. Absolutely doesn't. I mean, and the way Ronnie played in that first round match, and Ding obviously has beat Ronnie the last twice he played him, and not in poor tournaments, you know, the UK Championship, the World Championship. So Ronnie will be on his guard. He's got great respect for Ding Junhui, and that's why I feel it's very important to get a good start for Ronnie to stamp his authority on the match. But as you say, and I think what we'll also see, Mark, is a few ton-ups tonight.
John Virgo, thank you ever so much for joining us.
Betfred, proud sponsor of the World Snooker Championship.